This is Dental All Stars, where we bring you the best in dentistry on marketing, management, and training.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Nottingham, CEO of All Star Dental Academy, and welcome to Dental All Stars. Our topic is flip your payment processing cost into a revenue generator. Our guest is David Serwitz. David grew his first business to 43 locations and 25 million plus in revenue. One of his pain points along the way was the complexity, frustration, and cost of accepting payments. David now works with companies to turn their payment processing from an expense into a revenue generator and add a little fun along the way. In this interview that I had with David, he's a lot of fun, a lot of energy. And what I like about David is it's like what he shares, what you see is what you're going to get. Very honest, very straight. Kind of like you can get right into his head. He's going to share what's in his head. No holding back. I really appreciate this. In this podcast, you're going to learn about how these payment systems work, different ways to save money on credit card fees or even make money on them. It's very interesting. And I think it's worth looking at because I know so many dentists complain, gosh, those 3% credit card fees, they cost so much money. How can I lower it? How can I optimize this? Because at $1 million business, that's $30,000 a year. That's a car. And if you're 2 million, 60,000, 3 million, almost $100,000 in credit card fees. So certainly worth looking at how to reduce that expense, make some money in the process. So I trust you're going to enjoy this podcast, and please welcome David.
Cool. Awesome, Alex. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Very nice to have you. So why did you get into payments? Well, you talked a little bit about the frustration, but what was the journey to payments and what does your company do? Give me kind of a brief sense of this.
For sure. Awesome. So I never planned on being in this business. I basically fell backwards into it. As you mentioned, at my first company, has nothing to do with payments except that we accept them. And basically, as we grew and grew, my frustration with our payment processing increased, not only due to the cost, but also due to the lack of transparency and the lack of control. And so, about 5 years ago, we decided to vertically integrate payments and be our own processor, bring it in-house as opposed to buying it from others. I had no intention of selling it to other people. But once we were up and running, I had other business owner friends that knew me and trusted me and said, hey, Dave, if you did this for yourself, we know you and trust you. Can you please help us to understand it and set us up? So I said, sure. So I started doing it. And then pretty soon I had friends of other business owners calling us and saying, hey, our good friend vouches for you. Can you help us set it up? And so all of a sudden, we kind of had a second brand coming out of the woodworks on accident, which oftentimes is how a lot of things get going. And, in the industry, because things generally work and services generally low, very often the last thing to haggle over is price, right? It really matters, but it's a total commodity, right? So we basically do things totally differently here at Commission Buddies. I said, look, if I'm going to get into this business, I recognize I have to compete on price, but we're not going to negotiate on price because that's what takes 90% of the time in dealing with this. And we basically said, look, here's how it's going to work. You send us your bill, whatever you negotiated last time, we're going to charge you the exact same. And then whatever money we make, you're going to get half. Super simple. There's no negotiation. Right. There's no up and back. There's no pennies here and there. It's like, look, whatever you negotiated last time, we'll take it sight unseen. And then we're going to make you a buddy in commission. We are going to make you a 50% partner in your own account. So that was basically the basis of how we got going and how we're able to cut out 90% of the up and back that traditionally happens.
How did you come up with that model?
It's funny. So I didn't, here's actually how it went. And people don't usually ask me that. So the way it went was the sister of a woman who works in my office. Again, this was I was just helping friends get this going, right? A sister of a woman that worked in my office. I said, well, hey, send me your statement so I can, also price you appropriately, right? And she said, well, I don't feel comfortable sending you my statement. Even though my sister knows you, I don't really feel comfortable, blah, blah, blah. She had all these reasons and this and that. And I said, look, I'm not looking to find out how much you're getting charged so I can lower it just a tiny bit. How about this? Sight unseen, whatever you're being charged, I'll just charge you the same and give you half. I just spitballed it to her. And
Really?
it like totally disarmed her. And she's like, oh, yeah, that sounds fair. That sounds good. I'm like, cool. You know what I mean? And so it was like totally on accident. I just spitballed it to her because I think she was worried. I mean, this happens in the industry a lot. Like if you have, they try to figure out just how much they need to save you in order to get you to switch, but they don't want to save you more because that cuts into their profits, right? And I think she was worried that I was attempting to do that, which I wasn't. I was just helping the sister of a friend in my office. And I said, look, okay, fine. I'm not going to, let's just, whatever profit, we'll split it. It's that simple. And it just disarmed her and she sent it over and we got her going. And so I'm like, wow, like that went over like very well and easily and people seem to like it. So from there, we thought about it and like built the whole brand around it.
That's a really cool story. And that's interesting in life. Often it's these chance occurrences or offhanded things that end up being something really important in one's business. So that seems very different than a lot of what other payment processors do. What else
Indeed.
would you kind of, describe your company as being different?
Well, obviously we'd like to think a lot of things. I think one of the biggest differences, especially for small businesses that we work with when we have like a real ongoing relationship, is that we're not a payments company first, or I'm not a payments provider first. Like I'm a small business owner that grew my business to like medium size, right? And I now happen to do payments also, but small business owners tend to enjoy working with us quite a bit because we're like small business owners first that now happen to do this, right? And so I think a lot of people like working with us because we understand not all the dynamics of their business, but many of the dynamics of their business that we share ourselves. And the fact that we got into this to solve our own frustrations of the industry that many of our customers now also have had, I just think makes the bond better in the sense of it's not a good industry is the truth. Okay. It's very, very complicated. So it's very easy to be taken advantage of, whether maliciously or not on accident. It's very difficult to get straight answers. And you ask 3 people, they're going to give you 3 different answers on how it all works. It's super complicated. And so I think one of the things that we really do differently is that we're business owners first. We just make this really simple. We're not going to negotiate. We just take whatever you negotiated last time. And now we're partners. We're 50-50 partners. You know what I mean? It's really simple.
I like that.
People like it. And I think, just the fact that we're small business owners ourselves now doing this makes things work.
What are some of the nuances of dentistry, specifically when it comes to payment processing?
Well, as it particularly relates to the title of this, which is like flip your cost and your expense into a revenue generator, let me touch on that and then answer your question in a roundabout way. And if if you want to cut me off, you can. Basically, one of the things that's really sweeping the nation, and many of your viewers certainly have seen in other industries, is what people, the lay person's term is like cash discounting. It's not really the best term, but essentially where your customer, the card holder, pays the fee. And what that does is it allows the business to accept payments for no cost. So right now, all of your dentists are accepting their payments, and it's probably costing them thousands of dollars a month, tens of thousands of dollars a year, bigger practices, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? Well, many of you have probably seen where when you go to buy your sandwich or get your car washed or whatever, at the front, it's like, hey, if you want to use your card, there's an extra fee, right? People are used to seeing that. Have you started seeing that, Alex, in your area?
I have.
Okay.
It's annoying.
Okay. It is annoying. Okay. However, have you stopped shopping at those establishments?
Sometimes.
Okay. So here's the deal. We can offer that now, and it's incredibly effective. We probably have 75 dentists doing it now. I'm just ballparking. Okay. I'd have to take a look. We just got a 6 location in California dental practice up and running on this. You asked me the nuances. So here's what I'm getting at. If you go with this program with us, literally your fees drop to zero. Literally, your fees drop to zero. Okay. And the commission that we pay you goes up quite a bit. Because instead of being whatever amount of margin is on the account, typically there's more margin when we do this. Because to you, 1% of your sales is meaningful as an expense. To the card holder, an extra 1% on their bill is not meaningful generally, right? And so what happens is very often there's like 3 to 4 times more commission on these type of accounts than on a traditional account. So that's the whole premise of this talk, is that literally we can cut your fees to literally zero.
Or
By the way,
make
you don't
money.
have to, I'm sorry?
Or make money in this sense because you're charging the patient the
Exactly.
3 or 4%.
So what happens is literally your fees go to absolute zero. So if you're used to paying $3,000 a month in your credit card processing, that goes to zero. And then our commission to you will be substantial. So all of a sudden, what used to be an expense now literally is generating revenue for you. Okay. Now we can do that on our traditional program, which is like you still keep paying the fee and we will pay you. We now are subsidizing your expense. Like, maybe it's costing you $3,000 a month and maybe we're paying you $500. But with this program, your fees literally drop to zero. Okay, so maybe all of a sudden, instead of costing you $3,000 a month, it costs you zero. Instead of us paying you $500 a month, we're paying you like $1,500. Okay, so there are both options. Okay, healthcare providers are a little slower to pick this up than other establishments, but it's growing, and we're switching over dentists and other customers in droves now. And by the way, you can switch back. I mean, this is like, we can turn it on and off. It's super easy, okay? Because people are nervous, understandably, right? I think at that one dental practice of 6 locations, they like piloted at one. It was fine. They rolled it out to the others, okay? Now, here's what some of our dentists are doing. You asked me the nuances of dental. I'm talking about the nuances of dental on this program where your fees are zero and you make a lot of money with us, okay? Cash discounting is like the layperson's term for this program, right? If you're having like a $15 burrito and a drink, like you probably have cash to pay as an option, right? But if you're having like a $500 dental procedure, like not too many people are carrying around like $500 of cash, right? So sometimes dentists are like, shoot, like, yeah, we're giving them the option to pay with cash, but like, are we really giving them that option? Because how could they, right? And so what we've done for a lot of dentists is we've turned on PIN debit. You can run a debit card with a PIN or without, right? You probably know that. Okay. If you put in the PIN, the wholesale cost is lower. So what we've done for some of these dentists is we've set it up where if the customer wants to pay with a credit card or a regular debit, or if they want to pay with a credit card, they're paying the fee. But if they pay with a debit card and type in their PIN, then the dentist absorbs the fee. And usually we set it at like a flat 1.5%, which is a lot less than they're nearly for sure than what they're paying now. So it's a flat 1.5% fee to accept PIN debit. But what we have found that our customers that are doing this, still like 3/4 of their customers are paying with a credit card absorbing the fee. Okay, so in the scenario I just described for you, it's allowing our dentist to do this in a way that they don't feel they're giving them the option to pay with cash, but who really is paying with cash, $500 in their wallet as they're checking out? So they felt, a lot of our dentists feel comfortable with this option. If you pay with a credit card, you pay the fee. If you pay with a debit card, we'll pay the fee, and then we can charge them a lot less. So in this case, we're probably offsetting, if 75% of their customers, which is ballpark, are paying with a credit card, they're paying nothing on that. The remaining 25% that are paying on a debit card, they're only paying 1.5% as opposed to probably a lot more with credit cards. So all of a sudden, we're probably offsetting, call it 85% of their fees. So maybe it's not going to zero, but they're paying like 15% of what they were paying before. And very often the commission that we're paying them exceeds that remaining 15%. Right? So I feel like I made this sound a little more complicated than it is. I don't know if it makes sense to you. As I'm listening to myself, I'm like, man, it's simpler than I made it sound. But the
Dave,
bottom line,
you're so entertaining, Dave. I love, what I enjoy listening to is like, and that's what makes you so sincere, is like we can see into your mind. Like, here's how you're so excited about a topic that, is kind of complex, but you have fun with it and you're very straight about it. Now, one of the cool things is we're going to have Natalie, one of your representatives, at the event, the
Yep.
All-Star Practice Growth Summit May 19th and 20th in South Florida. And so what's great is people can come to that. They can talk to your company, learn more. I had one of our members said that at the last live event that they love the content. They made a ton of money from just the exhibitors learning from them and the savings they got by being exposed. Because what's nice is you were a referral that came through us, through one of our coaches. So you have been vetted. And that's what's nice is we get to bring all the great exhibitors that have been sponsors that have been vetted to this event, and you can meet, talk with them, learn. And I like what you said about the trust situation, that you're willing to provide that, because I know a lot of dentists always feel nervous about new endeavors, and it's nice that you're providing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
If somebody is not able to come to the event and they'd like to learn more about you, how can they find out about you? And I can put this information in the show notes as well.
Okay, nice. I will put a link that is a way. I mean, first of all, I'll put our link for our website. They can call us, they can send us an email or whatever. Sure. But if they want to start the process and find out, like everybody's question is, well, how much money am I going to make? Well, how much money am I going to make, right? Okay. So the way that they can do that is they can begin a little application process in which they can upload a statement. Okay. Like, then we can quote you to the penny how much money you'd make. Okay. And I'll give you the link for this, Alex, if I haven't already.
It's the apply.commissionbuddies.com.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So
I'll put all that in there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to go with cash discounting, okay, there's really two, like you can call it dual pricing or non-cash adjustment, but everybody calls it cash discounting. If you want to go with that program, like we don't need a statement because we don't need to match your rates, because we're not we're just going to charge you a flat 1.5% for debit cards. Credit cards are going to cost you nothing because the fee is passed on to the card holder. Okay. So in that case, you don't even need to dig up a statement. We're just let it roll, and whatever the profitability is on your account, you get half, you have total transparency into it, whatever. Okay. If you're like, no, I don't want to do that, I want you to match whatever deal I negotiated last time, then we do need you to upload a statement, because if we're going to, in good faith, match your whatever you negotiated last time, we got to see the bill. Super complicated. Most business owners, they think they understand what they're paying, but they don't. It's super, super complicated and nuanced. So that's the way to get going. And also maybe what we could do, Alex, too, if people want to talk first or whatever, maybe we could put Natalie's like Calendly booking link as an option too. That's a good idea, I think. Where if they don't want to put in personal information yet and they just want to like talk, like we can do that too.
Yeah, I have her email here as well, and we can certainly give a link to Calendly.
I think that's probably
in the show notes. Yeah, send that over to me. Well, David, thanks so much for being on the show.
Indeed, man. It's great to be here. We're super pumped about what we're doing. I mean, for the right person, it's just a no-brainer. It's like, I once made the mistake of saying to somebody, oh yeah, it's like free money. And they're like, well, my dad told me there's no such thing as free money and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay. I wasn't trying to like be cheeky, but like at the end of the day, working with us, like everything stays the same and you just make money now. You know what I mean? So for the right people, it's a no-brainer.
For those that are watching or listening, please remember to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And until next time, go out there and be an all-star.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Dental All Stars. Visit us online at allstardentalacademy.com.